So what do you do when you have a couple of life philosophies that are at odds with each other? First philosophy is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. No need to fix something that's not broke. Second one is, if you find yourself doing the same thing over and over again, there's probably a way to automate it. Well, GMC Sierra has got a problem. The auto start stop, I have to keep hitting it over and over and over again every time I get in the truck. But it's working as designed. So, which one am I going to choose? Auto start stop goes away today. I've got the Auto Start Stop Eliminator, and I've got a set of non-marring pry tools and a 7mm socket, armed with a YouTube video that I really like. I'm going to get into it, and I'm going to share my experience with you. So I'm going to be following along a video that YouTuber Travis Lambert put out there. Not YouTube superstar, he's kind of like me, just kind of sharing what he did with you. And so we're going to get started here. We're going to get in on this side and do the driver's side first. So the first thing we've got to do is put the seat all the way back. So we're going to get into this by popping off that little cover plate down here and using the 7mm socket to take the little bolt out of there. And then the remaining panel actually just has clips. So we've moved our seat all the way to the back. Let's pop that little guy off. Alright, so just like that, it actually came out really easily. And set that aside. Now there's a 7mm bolt in there we'll take out, and we'll get that out first, and then I'll show you a little thing you need to be careful of when popping the panel out from its clips. Alright, let's switch angles a little bit. Maybe we'll get a better shot at that. Have an upper angle. So again, we got the cover plate off, and there's a little tiny 7mm bolt in there. And voila. Got it loosening up. So you can just take it out by hand after that. Luckily this is filled in, so if you do drop the bolt, it's not going to fall back behind a panel and deep down in the bowels of the truck somewhere, so not too much to worry about with that. So out it comes. Now, from the video that I saw, you just take your panel and you start popping it out from here. But you don't want to pop out this part. This has got an actual panel hook that goes back that way. So you want to start at the bottom here, find where it's clipped in, and give it a good pull. Like that. And then just work the panel around. And I was told you do need to go all the way to the back with popping them out. Because the whole panel has to slide backwards when you're done. Okay, one more, down deep, down low. There. All right, now the whole panel should kind of lift and move and pull out, and then you can slide it backwards. I'd like to show you that from this angle. One, two. Take the time to do it right. This is what we're looking at. This clip right here actually has to slide backwards before it can unclip. The other clips that we dealt with first were just these little pop-off panel clips. So as long as you get close and you don't try to crank the plastic and you get your pry tool or your fingers down there real close, they will pop out of their grooves very easily. Okay, this one's the one you got to be real careful about. All right, so we're done on this side. Okay, we're going to go to the other side. Now it doesn't have a 7mm screw, so they just pop off. And we'll start again at the front bottom and work our way around. All right, so here we have a look from the passenger side. Again, it's the same kind of concept, only this one doesn't have a 7mm screw to get to it. So you just simply reach around here, start at the front, get your hands behind the panel, and start popping. Again, be careful of right here. Don't pry out on that yet. Work your way around the bottom. And these come out pretty easy. There's some force, but you're not having to be a gorilla with it. Angle is more it than anything. sure you get that very last one. You got to reach way down behind the seat to pop that last one. Let me show you. As I researched this, where they didn't pop this last one, they just kind of bent the panel around, and I'm not down with that. Way down here, the very last is that final clip. All right, and you can get to it. Just reaching your hand flat down there, and you'll be able to feel it. It'll pop off. Now, the trick will be getting it back on, maybe, huh? We'll see. It should go back in. All right, so this panel is popped completely out, and what we can do is we can slide it backwards and down, and there, and we didn't break that clip. So again, really all you have to do is get these loose. We're going to end up taking this trim panel off right here, and you don't want these in the way. They can't come out along with this. All right, on to the top now. All right, so this next part's a little bit scary. We're gonna actually have to take this top panel off, and it has a couple of real thin pieces of plastic here that have to pop up. So I got a couple of pry tools here that we'll use. I'm gonna take a lead from Travis's video, and I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of masking tape, painter's tape, right along here in case the pry tool slips for whatever reason. It doesn't scuff up the thing. Now, some of y'all may not care. My truck's got about 1,200 miles on it, all right? And I don't work on a new rig. There's no point in working on a new rig, right? But I want this, so I'm gonna do it. But I want my new rig looking new as long as I can. So, I'm the kind of person, you know, there's people you see them, they'll trade in their vehicles every 2 or 3 years, 5 years, whatever. I will drive this until it literally turns to dust or rust or whatever. I'm sitting beside, you can't see out here, it's 2003 Altima that I didn't trade in for this because I can still get a few more miles out of it, but it's what I was driving before I bought the 2020 a couple of months ago. So I get them new, I treat them well, I maintain them well, and they last a long time. All right, according to the video, you can get a little leverage here if you just kind of pry up on the corner, and you can see that corner lifting a little bit. So I get my tool underneath here. Perhaps a little extra persuasion. Do I like doing this right now? Not at all. All right, let's use the other pry tool. Maybe we can persuade it more. But what I don't want to do is break a plastic piece. But it is supposed to just pop out like that. It's a scary feeling. And it's really not a pretty sound. It's kind of a scary sound too, because that's like crunch. And you're like, did I just break something? And I would cry if I broke my brand new truck. Well, I wouldn't cry, but I wouldn't be happy with me. There it goes. All right, just like that. Feels scary, sounds scary, but it's actually pretty good. So, there, the whole thing. One shot. Once you lift it, it goes. That clip right there, and that clip under here. Once you take those two off, you should be able to just lift the center console cup holder piece out. All out here, you notice as we took the console out, there's a small air vent, air hose right here. It's got some foam around it and all that. So when you put this back in, make sure that you're connecting all of these little ducts and places just where they belong, okay? All right, so the next thing that comes out is a small trim panel that goes around the front. Now it goes underneath here. You're not taking this part off. You're taking the small trim panel from underneath it off, okay? And so there's no retaining screws. There's a lot of screws around there, but none of them retain this. It's just held on by 4 clips. So start at an edge, and it's better to use a hook tool and come in nice and easy under it. Make sure you've just got the panel, not something behind it, and pry it off. Right there. Now if you can get the bottom pried out, there's that one, and the next, there you go. Again, careful, this trim piece right here is very thin, so don't pry, don't bend a lot, Just get it where it's just enough and pry near these guys. There's a lot of plastic right here, but if you start getting out on the edges, you're gonna break something. Other side. Right there. Now, I will tell you, this panel is wanting to hit up against here, and I'm having a real hard time getting my arm around this guy. So we may take this panel all the way out. Won't be fun to do, but maybe what we've got to do. So pushing all the way to the front, laying it flat. That should give me enough room without having to get my hand smashed up behind it. Now this guy right here, he's kind of molded in and put in with this. So if I needed to get him out, he's going to be a pain. So let's try not to do that. Let me get this guy forward and out. Without hitting your security alarm. I see an edit in the video coming up real soon. There. All right, and one right smack in the center. Coming in from both sides, as much plastic as you can on it. And it came out. Okay. Yeah, that one was fun. And a little bit of scuffing right here that came from having to beat up against the corner of that. Other than that, yeah, a little bit on the other side too. So, in retrospect, you might put some painter's tape right along here. Now, of course, the center console is going to cover that up. But still, if you don't want to be the kind of person that bangs up your new truck, a little bit of painter's tape right there would probably be a good idea. All right, on to the next. All right, so the next thing is to get the infotainment center trim piece off. All right, now it's a thin trim piece, and but it should come out fairly easy. There are no screws retaining it either, and so, but I did put some painter's tape on here so that way I can get some pry and some leverage to get the edge started. When you get the edge started, you want to work it down to the bottom and then come around and get out of it. I'm actually going to start on the other side and we'll come around to you. Try a different side of it, like that. And again, be careful, go slow and easy. This is wanting to come out now. Use another tool, get it wedged underneath there. Now, I can work my way down to the bottom where the clip is, and then pry out. There. Now the clip just popped. It's pretty easy, so we just keep working our way back around. Again, thin plastic, so take your time, go slow, gently edge it out, just help it along the way. And this is actually not as bad as it looks, just don't rush. And don't get it all bound up and kinked up. There you go. Easy breezy. Okay, now there'll be 6 screws to hold this in, and then we'll actually be able to install the Auto Start Stop Eliminator. Woohoo, we're getting there. All right, so next there are 6 T15 Torx screws around the perimeter of the infotainment center. So there's 2 up the top, 2 on each side, and 2 way down low here where you can't see. So take those 6 screws out, and again, T15 Torx. And here we go. All right, so starting from the top, you can simply just pry out the infotainment center. It'll pop, and then just work your way down the sides. And yeah, that was not an issue, no problem. Okay, and then again, be careful. You've got ductwork with foam here that's very soft, so you want to make sure to get that back right. And voila. Auto Start Stop Eliminator switch is going to go right there where that red one is. Cool? So again, it's the farthest one to the driver's side, this guy right here. So we'll pop that red clip out. We won't actually let it fall all the way out. We'll remove that from the harness, and then we'll get the Auto Start Stop Eliminator and just connect the two up. Okay, here we go again. Hard to do and hold the camera and all of that. All right, so just put your screwdriver down there and then just pry out the lock. So pull it all the way out. And then now I'm going to need two hands, because you do have to push the retention clip on there and pull at the same time. It's out. And I'll just show you the retention clip. Once you pop the lock on there, the retention clip is literally right below it. Just push straight in on that and pull out, and it'll come straight out. The moment we've all been waiting for. Well, my Father's Day gift. Thank you to my family. The Auto Start Stop Eliminator. Not a very big package, but amazing what it does. So some people would say, oh, you're going against the EPA, or these are illegal. Or no, they're not. No, they're not. This is, again, remember me saying at the first, if you have to do something over and over and over again, there's probably a way to automate it. Well, that's all this does, okay? It remembers the last settings that you put your Auto Start Stop button at, okay? Whether you like it on, it remembers that and makes sure it stays on. Whether you leave it off, it remembers that. And so instead of you having to push the button again, this pushes it for you, okay? So it is simply doing what you want your vehicle to do all the time. Now, there may be times you want to run and get the fuel savings from the Auto Start Stop feature of the vehicle naturally. You still have that capability. You're not disabling that feature, okay? And then if you want to run without it, so let's say you just have a problem with engine wear and other problems and concerns that can cause, well, now you've got that ability where you just turn it off, and it will remember that you've turned it off. The next time you get in the vehicle and start your vehicle up, this will do just what you would do. Push the button for you and turn it back off. Okay, so again, you're not overriding any systems, you're just pushing the button automatically, just like a key fob. Anyway, Auto Start Stop Eliminator, we're going to go ahead and put it in. It just simply connects to the harness that we just unpulled and then hooks to where it was. And so this little component right here in the middle just simply reads the state of the switch. When it gets powered up, it remembers the last state that you saved it at, and it makes the two match. So if you left it on and it senses it on, it does nothing. If you left it off and it senses it on, it turns it back off for you. So there it is. Simple. Yeah. We've released the harness from the infotainment center. Now we're going to push the wiring harness back into the Auto Start Stop Eliminator and clip it down. And then this one just simply goes right back where it was, right here. And it'll click in. And there it is. That's it. We're done. We are installed. Now just simply reverse your process and we'll put everything back together. All right, so now we're back up front. Now we just simply start locking in our infotainment center system. And again, make sure you get all of your guide pins aligned properly. Make sure you get your everything just so. All right, and the nice thing is the guide pins really do help you align this. And then you just simply push in on the retaining clips, pop them back in place. And there it is. Simple, straightforward, easy. All right, lock these puppies in. All right, there are the torque screws back, and we're going to put the trim piece back on, and then we'll come put the under piece back on here, and then we'll start buckling everything back up for the center console, and we'll be good to go. But no, here it is. I actually won't cut the video. We'll just go from here. All right, once again, take your time, make sure everything's lined up. Snap. And snap. Voila. And voila. Honestly, that one was the one I was most worried about, and it went really smoothly. All right, so now we put this guy back in. Now remember, you just got to look at it. These things are straight on, so even though it looks like everything's at a slant, you're really just going to go straight in with it. Here's that one. Yeah, straight in. Nice and easy, right? It's never as easy as it seems. There's the top one. I'm binding up over here on this other side, so I'm gonna go over there. Luckily, this is a pretty hot day. You probably saw me sweating earlier. So trim seems to do better on warm days. I know I tried to work on that Ultima in a cold day, and I literally snapped 2 clips, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. All right, over here on the other side now, and again, I'm just gotta get this little ear over the piece there. Push straight in, click, and I click too. Those kind of click together, so. All right, there it is. That tube lines up with its corresponding tube down below, so that way you get airflow to your wireless charger. All right, moving on. All right, that's seated nicely. I'm gonna go ahead and hook up the wireless charger and lock it back in place. Click. It does have a lock of its own, but the lock doesn't lock, so yeah. And then the other little guy, just click it back in. So there's the 2 wiring harnesses that we removed earlier, and I'm checking that. Yeah, there, all good here. And let's just lock her back down. Okay. So there's your center console. All right, so we're going to remember that we've got to put this part back on first, and you need it to slide back, lock in, and then slide forward before we start locking in the side clips. Everything lined up. There we go. Got to go back and up and in. Once that's forward, start locking those clips out. Don't forget the ones way down low and back behind. There you go. Easy enough. Round to the other side. So again, this side's got the same clip type thing and the same locking at the top. Plus we've got the 7mm nut, screw, bolt thing at the bottom. So here we go. Help guide it back a little bit because we had to get over and around and all of that jazz before. So now we're way back, find our lock. All right, there we go. Okay, now we're good. All right, okay, but I'll just show you a little hack here. Take a little piece of tape, just enough to hold it till you get started. You're not going to screw the tape in here, but there you go. Now you can get in there without the bolt falling out, and then make sure before you tighten it all the way down, you take the tape out. finger tight plus a little, and you're good to go. Okay, there we go. I almost forgot the little trim piece that goes on there. So just put it in there like so. And so when we first fire it up, the auto start stop is off. From the factory, it's off and it showed off. So I'm going to turn it on, and auto start stop is now on. So it's on. I'm going to turn the vehicle off. All right. Now by default, this vehicle is supposed to come on. The auto start stop is supposed to come on when you start. So kind of like no big deal here, right? And it's on, and it's there, and everything's good, and we stay on. And that's the way it's always been. And then when you get in the vehicle and you want to drive, you got to turn the stupid thing off. Okay, now it says auto start stop is off. But the next time you stop the vehicle and started it up again, the factory setting would turn that back on, no matter how you left it. So I want it off. Turn the vehicle off. Open the door. Everything's reset. Alright, here we go. Start the vehicle again. Auto start stop should come. No, it says it's off. It already did it as quick as I started it up. Now again, this is not permanently killing it or overriding it. If I really want the auto start stop feature, I can turn it back on. And it's on, and it will work. So if I drive around and the engine's up to speed and the temperature's cool enough, and I come up to a stop sign or a stoplight and I'm sitting there for more than a few seconds, the engine will automatically die. Stop, won't die, it'll be turned off. And then as soon as I let off the brake and start to go, it'll automatically start the engine back up and go. And that's what this does. Well, again, talked about it before, I don't like that feature, so I want it off. Okay, now I may want it back on again in the future, so the ability to turn it on and off is perfectly fine with me. I know what it's for, I know how it works, I know the risks and benefits, so it's my choice now. And that's the way, my friends, America ought to work. It ought to be your choice. You have the option, you can take it, you can leave it, but be responsible about your actions, whatever you do. Okay, and turn the engine off. Come on now. Okay, start it up again. And off she goes. Alright, so full control for me, full control for you. Auto Start Stop Eliminator. Haven't seen anything else on the market that's comparable like it, that is as simple as that device is. And so we'll see. If this thing goes haywire, I'll post a follow-up video grumping about it. But so far so good.